So today is finally the day we get to take a small, I'm going to call this a sneak peek into Giant's 2022 lineup. Unfortunately, I don't have all of these bicycles in my possession. That would be wonderful, right? But I don't. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through them. I'm going to break them up into segments. The first segment is going to be what everyone's waiting for, is the full suspension lineup. Then I want to move on to the hardtails, that kind of stuff in a separate video. I'd love to go over the road gravel kind of stuff as well. So I'm calling this a sneak peek for a very specific reason. At the very bottom of any of the pages you look at, whether it's Giant, Specialized, Trek, anybody's, there's a little preface thing at the bottom that says like parts and specs are subject to change at a moment's notice, as well as price. COVID has exacerbated that line, and all of these companies are now fully using it. If February gets here and your brand new Anthem comes in and it is not spec'd identical, you can't be too mad or disappointed, because the way the supply chain is right now is so screwed up that it's almost to be expected. If I get all the pricing, I am going to stick it down below, so if you have a question about how much something is going to maybe retail at, that's what I would say. I will put it down below. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. I am going to be using Giant's source book. Oh, one more thing. I thought this was super confusing, and take it with a grain of salt. So Giant put out that they will no longer be doing model years. Super interesting, right? Bianchi's done this for years, and I personally believe this is the way that it should be, because technically Giant does not come out like with a new Anthem every single year. They typically will redesign a bike, it seems like every 4 to 5 years. And I don't think, I know it's because of the supply chain issues that they are now coming out 100% saying that they are not doing model years anymore. And I did notice a few of these bikes rolled over, so let's just jump right into it. So the first bike we're going to come upon in Giant's full squishy line is the Anthem Advanced Pro 29.1 and the Anthem Advanced Pro 29.3. So this one is going to be the top of the line in the Anthem lineup. It is going to have live valve. A lot of your extremely high-end bikes are coming with that. It is going to have full Fox on this thing, full carbon front and rear, and let's see, let's just go to components. So it's going to be full XT 1x12, not XTR. I probably think that that's more to do with getting components than anything, because the last time I looked at XTR to try and order it for a friend, Shimano actually has December of next year is when XTR will be available. I think I was just looking at the shifter. Stuff's insane to get. So it is a full XT. That's pretty nice. And it is coming with a full carbon wheel set, which it definitely should at this price point. If you're interested, there is the geometry for the bike. Superior control, all new Flex Point Pro suspension delivers 100 millimeters of smooth, active rear travel. The re-engineered frame set features a modern XC geometry and head tube 110 millimeter suspension fork. So it's a 110, 100, and disappointing as disappointing can get. And I know a lot of you are probably going to be like, disappointing? That bike looks amazing. When I first saw this thing, I thought the same thing. I love the lines on it. I think they made the Anthem look like a race machine. But they dumbed down the suspension, man. It is identical to my Orbea. Nothing different. Giant is essentially saying this is the Flex Point Pro. You know what else uses Flex Point suspension design? Their stands. Their entry-level entry-level full suspension bike. This is a single pivot design. It is less expensive to make, which could be partially the reason that they did it, and they claim that it saves like 250 grams. Now, I personally think Giant did it on their full suspension race bike because they want to be competitive in the weight area, because their bikes are usually just a smidge heavier than their competitors, and in the current market we're in, everyone cares about weight. But me personally, having the Maestro on your XC bike is what separated Giant from a lot of the other brands, because I can attest from personal experience the Maestro works better than what I'm on right now. The easy way to think about it, the Flex Point suspension design, it's a single pivot, so that rear end arcs towards the front of the bike. When that rear end arcs towards the front of the bike, it's a little bit less efficient. Now the Maestro suspension design, it has a rocker on the top and on the bottom, and that rear wheel moves up and down, just straight vertical. It's much more efficient for that wheel to move vertical than to arc. So I'm not here to review the Anthem yet. I still gotta ride the thing, obviously, but I am a little disappointed that they seem to have taken a step backwards and are just, you know, I mean, this bike, it looks beautiful. I would love to ride the thing, but it doesn't, it's nothing special. It's nothing different. Everyone has a single pivot bike. Let's just move along to the 3. Oops, wrong way. That's the frame set. Anthem Advanced Pro 29.3. So what is different between this one and the 1? The same frame, obviously. I know when you zoom in, the pictures get a little pixelated, but I can't make it full screen. So it's got a RockShox SID on it and a Fox Float DPS, so it does not have live valve, and it is Shimano Dior. So full Dior. It is coming with a 180 and a 160, so not bad. Let's see, and a carbon wheel system. So your biggest difference between this is it gets dumbed down to Dior level, but Dior is a 1x12. I thought Dior worked great last year, or I guess this year. I don't know. Honestly, if I was looking in between the 29er 3 and the 29er 1, I think I would buy the 3 because it's already got a SID. It's got a decent rear shock. It does not have live valve though, but it's still full carbon wheels. For the price difference between the two, which they have released that, I don't think I would buy the top of the line one, which is typically the case. You know, they usually put one that's so freaking expensive no one wants to buy it. All right, so now we move along to the Trance X Advanced Pro 29.1 and 2. Frame design is going to be the same. Nothing's going to change there. I think this is more or less just going to be a carryover bike. Some of the goodies might actually change a little bit. It does have live valve. Seems like a running theme here on the high-end bikes that they're gonna have live valve on it. It does have a Fox 36 factory, so it's full GX Eagle. I find it interesting. I think Giant's trying to hit some price points here as well, but they're definitely on the high-end bikes going for, it seems like, carbon wheels, really high-end suspension, and nice drivetrain, but they're not putting the top of the line stuff on there. I mean, and that's gotta be supply chain. It is coming with SRAM brakes. You guys know how I feel about SRAM brakes. What's coming on the 2? You've got Dior mixed with SLX on the drivetrain side, and then you've got a Fox Float DPS Performance, and then a Fox 36 Float Rhythm. Still gonna be 150 up front and 135 in the rear end. Of course, this is the flip chip frame. Flip chip meaning you can change the geometry of the bicycle. Colorway there looks pretty dang good. I think it looks good. I think that's one I'm gonna have to see in person. So then we move along to the standard Trance X 29. Basically, this is just going to be an aluminum frame. 2 colorways, Fox Float DPS Performance in the rear and a 36 Performance in the front. It's still 150. You are getting full SLX as far as your drivetrain goes, but you're getting Dior, 4-piston brakes. You get a 203 rotor and a 180 in the rear. That's not bad. And you have some all-mountain wheels on this thing. So not terrible at all. Pretty consistent. I think this is a carryover bike. Then we come to the Trance X 29.2. So you have a RockShox 35 Gold RL and a Fox Float DPS Performance. That gold, RockShox 35 Gold, I think when I was reading about it last year, it wasn't getting terrible reviews, but it was more or less a beefy recon. Correct me if I'm wrong there, guys. You I know you will. I rode one of these very briefly. It was like an hour and a half ride, but I remember thinking that 35 Gold it seemed it was better than a pogo stick. I don't know, something was off about it. I was not super impressed with that. And of course, this base model is gonna come with SX. So there again, that would be my only big gripe with this bike, because price point usually when they're putting those 35s on stuff, it means it's hopefully a sub $3,000 bike. We'll see. And it is the all mountain 29 alloy wheel set. Now here we go. I do not think last year, correct me if I'm wrong, that they did a standard Trance X. Standard Trance X would be a 27.5. I could be completely wrong there. I do not know about that color, guys. Trance X2 looks like brass and white, brass and cream or something. That's kind of ugly. And it is a Fox Float DPS Performance and a Fox 36 Rhythm fork. So decent suspension. And then the drivetrain is going to be NX Eagle. Brakes are 4-piston Dior's. They are doing a Trance X3. How much you want to bet it comes with a RockShox Gold 35 on it? I'm glad I did not take that bet. So it's got a RockShox Yari. They might not do a RockShox Gold 35 for 27.5. Colorways are basic. One's black and white. That's about as basic as it gets. Oh, let's see. Shimano Dior 1x12, pretty decent. Dior brakes. Okay, so this is a pretty nice entry-level bike if you want 27.5 Trance X with that much travel. That's, 160, 145, that's pretty decent. I like this spec, nothing that I hate on it. So now we get to the regular Trance 29.1, full SLX, Fox 34 Performance, Fox Float DPS. Alloy, I really want to see what this bike is gonna weigh. Colorways, not terrible. So Trance 29.2s, I'm pretty sure all of these standard Trances are carryovers as well, but it is coming with a Marzocchi on the front. That's what it had last year, and a Fox Float DPS. Shimano Dior 1x12, and it does have the flip chip. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the stance because we do all know that the stance is a carryover bike. Nothing changed with the stance unless they change like maybe what chain it's coming with or something. So stance 29.1, even the same colorway there. You have the stance 29.2, same colorways. I think that silver in the background there might be a different one. Now we get to the rain. So the rain I'm pretty sure carried over as well, but at least they do have some other colors to choose from. So when you go to the Pro 29.1, you get this fancy burnt orange colorway. I think that looks pretty decent. Let's make sure. Yeah, Fox 38, live valve in the rear. Let's see, a 174. I believe last year was a 180, right? I don't know. I could be wrong. And it is GX Eagle with Shimano brakes. Now that's the way to do it. I do actually prefer SRAM components like the shifters and the derailleurs when it's the high-end stuff. I just like how it feels, but I do not like their brakes, so I like this. I like that a lot. Rain Advanced Pro 29.2. Not a bad colorway. Looks like the forest where you will be riding this thing at. Got a RockShox Deluxe and then a RockShox Zeb Select in the front. I haven't heard a ton about the Zeb yet. That's not my forte. I haven't heard anything bad about it either. NX and still Shimano brakes, so that's pretty good. That's a pretty colorway right there. Rain 29SX, you all know that I am a sucker when it comes to teal like that, and that's pretty. I would love to see this in person. So rear shock is a coil. It's Fox 36 on the front end, and it is coming with NX and a little bit of SLX in there with the brakes. Wheel set is going to be just the regular all-mountain wheel set, and it's still, 170. And then we just get to the finale here with the standard Rain 29 all aluminum. Then we get another grand colorway called Metal. That color's not terrible. I think it's a safe color. Nothing fancy. RockShox Deluxe and a Yari with Dior and SLX. Not terrible at all. So really quick, sorry. I did just finish conversing with Giant, and they informed me that some of these bikes that I am putting in this lineup are actually still under a global embargo. So I wanted to be sure to remove those. So if you've heard any rumors of a bike coming out, very well could be. I'm just not going to talk about it here. Now, when that releases, I will give you guys an update. The reason they're not actually allowing us to talk about them yet is because, well, this is my speculation, take it with a grain of salt, but those bikes, when we go to try to order them, claim they're not going to get here till 2023. So I think Giant's just not wanting anybody to say anything. They don't want to get you guys, they don't want to get me jazzed up for something that they can't even provide. So I at least wanted to put that out there. Stuff is so hard to get, and one piece of advice that I would give to anybody, most of your bike shops have already put in an order for next year, and that is almost what they are crossing their fingers hoping to get. If you want one of these bikes, and I hate sounding like a salesman, but if you really want one of these things, you need to go to your local bike shop, ask if they've put one on order, and you need to go ahead and put your name on it. Every bike shop is different. as far as their process for putting your name on it, you need to go ahead and start that process. So I really wanted to at least get these out here, because I know by the time I have my hands on some of these things, get to review them for you all, it's too late. You won't be able to find one of these. So if you have any questions, please just go ahead and ask them. If I can find it out, I will definitely let you know. And please guys, if you do enjoy this and you want to see the rest of the Giant line, just make sure you like and subscribe, and also hit the bell notification. That actually helps the channel out just as much as subscribing. So yeah, let's jump right in. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for indulging me in going through the new full suspension lineup from Giant 2022. All right, love you all. See you in the next one. Bye bye.